Here we go. Let's roll. We're going to have the Petrov again? We're going to have the Cochrane's Gambit? No, Fantasy Land. Or not. Let's try the Exchange Caro. Exchange Caro-Kann, bishop d3, and I might want to say no. Do not develop that bishop. That's what h3 is looking to do. So, what gets done with this bishop? Knight c6. If I play knight f3, there's knight b4. If I check, the bishop blocks, and this is something black is welcome to do. Keep in mind from this structure, black is perfectly happy with exchanging light square bishops. There we go. I had to gather my thoughts on that one. So wait, that said, what do you think this bishop's ready to do? Bishop b5. If I play c3, if I castle, bishop b5 is played. Now, there's a couple ways I could defend against that bishop move. 1, queen e2, and 2, a4. I think this is a spot my queen would like to go to anyhow. It's less committal. I like it. Let's go. Now, if my opponent says, you know what, I really want to get my bishop to b5, I'm going to say, you know what, I really don't want him to get there with a4. It's much more convenient for me to be preventing this bishop move than my opponent is. You know, it's not an inconvenience for me to have to be dealing with it. Eventually the knight has to play here, and I don't have to worry about that move ever. So knight here is one thing I could do. And castle, c3. Castle seems like it's good. I can't move my bishop just yet. Let's castle. Knight here, c3. I don't want to deal with knight b4. I might have to be concerned if I'm playing this a4 move. Knight c6, a5, b3 stuff. Hopefully I could get my bishop out and then my knight to d2. A knight on d2 would counteract a knight on a5. Let's go here. This was being placed under fire, my d4 point. Knights that are on the same diagonal with exactly 2 squares separating them are often fighting for the same squares. Picture it. Knight a5, what is it looking to do from there? The two-word test. Now what? Now what from a5? b3 or c4 maybe. If I have my knight on d2, it's guarding b3 and c4. Okay. I think I want to get a knight right here. My dark square bishop is just going to end up getting kicked around. Bishop here. There might even be knight h5 to f4 stuff. Let's get my rook here. And I'm actually considering Ruy Lopez type of stuff right now. And by that I mean knight d2, f1, maybe here, even though it could compromise my kingside structure. Or maybe here to e3 with the g4 and then e5 idea in mind. I'm going to come here while I have the opportunity to do just that. And I think I go still on my little journey. And there's a couple different ways I could get to g4 actually. I don't know if I want to play here because then there's maybe the possibility for e5. So maybe h2, g4. I'd have double g-pawns, but that can actually be quite good. I could use that as a spearhead for an attack. I already have 2 bishops pointing at the king. This one right here not even needing to be developed, and it's already an aggressive piece. Keep that in mind. Sometimes your pieces don't need to develop and they could already be in a good spot. Granted, this rook isn't able to help out until this guy moves, but in any event, knight h2 to g4 is a possibility. And I think I like it enough to just do it. Right? Knight e5 is another one. There is no knight takes because of pawn takes with the fork. So if I do position my knight And the bishop has to take, pawn recaptures, and the knight is running out of squares. Ooh. That is actually something I'm liking better than the knight h2 to g4 idea. If I prevent this pawn from moving, the bishop clearly will not be coming out in this direction. Well, even if it did, it's really struggling, this bishop. If the knight isn't captured now, I could be supporting it with f4. This could be big trouble soon. I might want to run with g4, despite how weakening it is. I might have ideas of knight g3 to h5, a pivot point, targeting these. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that could maybe cause the king some trouble. A fifth one is a couple moves off, and a sixth one is just a couple moves off. So really it's just this rook. So now I think I run with actually bishop here. Get my bishop out. Or no, pawn here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Well, you know what's going to happen. This move is going to be played, and I'm not going to stop it this time with a4 because I don't like the thought of a knight coming to b3. So forget about that, and sure enough, that's what we're having here. Or maybe I should actually. Could I actually deal with the knight sitting right here? a4, knight b3, rook b1. I dropped that a pawn. I don't like that. Let's not do it. Okay, what do we do then? I think I want to get this pawn involved. Let me see. Clock situation. Where are we at? Think here. I don't need my g pawn. I was considering first this move and then knight g3, but I think this is most direct. Less weakening. I could have also considered taking the bishop. Ugh, why did I consider that? Why did I consider that? Ugh, that would have been good, right? Let's break this open. Oh, man. I am lucky I'm not dropping a piece right now. I thought I could recapture with my knight. I couldn't because this would be hanging. Why didn't I just take that bishop? Even though it was a dummy, it would allow for my light square bishop to eventually do some damage to the king. Less than a minute. Hopefully I can sort this out. The knight can't go too far because of forks. Now we're going to have a queen trade. I guess we're going to have a queen trade, aren't we? Okay, queen trade it is. And I think I want to come here. If bishop takes, I think I'll take with the pawn or something. This is a problem for me. Okay. Oh, okay. Fortunately, I actually have stuff working out. Bishop check, bishop block. Oh, this is a problem. I'm on 2 knights at that point. That was a miscalculation. But this is still not so easy to be winning. I gotta watch this pawn, I think. Pawn takes, I can't... No, I could take with the knight. I'm gonna take now that the file isn't opened. Now the F file, the rook isn't on there. I think I'm gonna run home if there's a check. Let's double up. Also, rook, bishop here. Let's get out of that. Get that rook out of there. Guard these pawns first and foremost. I don't want to drop this. Let's get here. 18 seconds. They're flying. I don't have any time. There's forks and stuff. Right here. Clock situation. Oh, they're flying. They're flying here. Pre-move? What is the count here? Oh, stuff is falling quickly. Pigs. Where are the pigs? Looking for the pigs. More pigs. More fuel on this point. That pawn is crashing. Don't allow for stalemate. 6 seconds. Oh, they resigned. That was going to get nuts right there at the end. I guess there was maybe some possibility for a stalemate right at the end, but what a tight game. My opponent kicked it into a higher gear right there and caught me off guard. I was doing too much talking too late right there. So be aware of this idea, first and foremost, the exchange variation of the Caro-Kann. This idea, in other words, being to not allow the bishop to come out to either f5 or g4. This h3 move stops the two squares the bishop can be going to. Now, the queen b6 move, I think there's some improvement on it. I wonder about knight c6 and after c3, because again, otherwise I don't want to deal with knight to b4. So after knight c6 and c3, I think you could be getting in this e5 move. But it's not without having to then deal with an isolated queen pawn. So be aware of that. Be aware of that possibility, the knight c6, and then you could get in e5. You will have to deal with that type of structure. I think I stand better in this position, and I didn't make the best choices. These are good spots for the bishop and the knight. Classic squares for the knight are hard to argue with. I get my knight in, that f4, and right here I could do better. As soon as my opponent is threatening to actually get their bishop here, I think I should be taking this and then getting my knight to g3 and maybe even well, actually h2 and g4 I think would be even better. Take this and then h2 actually I think is best, because I can maybe go to g4 or f3 to e5. Did you follow that? Instead of the move I played, knight g3 right now, take this bishop, even though it's the bad bishop and it's not doing anything, it's getting ready to, another way to view it, is that it's getting ready to get rid of a very valuable, a very key ingredient in an eventual kingside attack towards black here. So chop, the knight has to retreat to recapture, of course, and then knight h2 to one of these two squares, and things are going to be really good, I believe. So that's an improvement, and now queen's coming off. This is double pawns, but so what? It's they're not accessible. Pawns aren't necessarily a target unless you can do what? Unless you can exploit them. Right here, bishop takes is a mistake, so I think knight takes, pawn takes with the fork, but there is a way out of it. Bishop check. I could block, and then the knight could be reacting, or there could be bishop check, and I'll have to recapture with my rook. Otherwise, there's maybe rook takes pawn check or something. But that's going to be the way to save a piece right here, not throw in bishop takes knight, but rather knight takes knight, or even retreat and then target this guy or something. But we were both in time pressure at that point, weren't we? Okay, good game.